Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd do a follow-up to my last video talking about this subject. I had quite a few questions and comments that I thought that were interesting or that maybe needed a bit more clarifying that I wasn't too clear on in the first video. Since the first video, I think I felt a lot better for getting it out there. I think that with any past trauma, things take a long time to come to the surface, and sometimes you have to get rid of the surface level to then dig deeper for your feelings. And I think that getting my surface level feelings out there was very helpful for me to now deal with the deeper issues. I don't know what that will entail, I don't know what will help me to deal with that, but I just know that the video was really good for me, and I think it was really good for my relationship as well with Brandon, because from what we've discussed, it seems that it's difficult to know how to help someone who doesn't know how to help themselves, obviously, but I think also someone like me who uses humour and burying my head in the sand, it's very difficult then to know how to act. One of the things that is most prevalent in my childhood that I think then affects my adult life is that when you're in a community or an organisation like a religion, it's very public. Everything about your life is known by everyone else, and that was particularly so with my family, because close family members of mine were in prominent positions within the organisation, and so when they stopped attending, it had a knock-on effect to the rest of us, and there were random people who knew things about my life that when I was talking to them I was like, how do you know that? So I definitely am a very open book naturally, but those experiences have made me too open, I think, because I'm so used to everyone knowing my life that I don't make people earn my trust, which I think they should. I don't think that everyone deserves to know everything about you. I think that that's something that should be earned, and I'm not very good at doing that. I do tend to tell people too much, and I'm a real oversharer. So it was really good to kind of get the bits that I was happy to discuss out there without being too personal, because it made me realise that I can talk about my feelings without feeling the need to overshare. The main thing that came out of the video, which is a very good point, and I was going to discuss it I think more in the video, but I was conscious of time and I kind of went on tangents. I didn't have a script or anything or like a list of what I wanted to discuss in the last video, so I kind of just went all over the place. But the main thing that people said is that my previous landlord who is a Jehovah's Witness, giving my new address to members of the organisation is illegal and against GDPR. And yes, of course, yes, it is. There is no excuse for that. I did write I know this is I wrote a strongly worded letter, but I did text the people who came to my house. They left something through the door, and it was a magazine, like a printed out watchtower, which really annoyed me because this is such a stupid thing to get annoyed about. But one of the things Jehovah's Witnesses pride themselves on is the fact that the paper they use is a recyclable paper, whereas this watchtower had just been printed on normal paper. So that annoyed me, because I was like, well, now you've just wasted a tree. They put that through the door and they put a little note on the front. It basically said that, read this page, it's very interesting, we need to have a chat, so call one of the people. They had said on the message, sorry we missed you. So they had obviously knocked on the door. And for me, I know if I had been at home and they had done that, I think I would have seen red. I think I would have called the police there and then, because when I saw the note, I felt so violated. The last 6 months of being in my old address that is owned by Jehovah's Witnesses was awful. I didn't have a choice. I had to stay there because I couldn't afford to move out yet, but it was horrible. I felt like every move of mine was scrutinised. I felt like everybody knew where I was and everyone could watch everything I was doing. And that's why when I moved here, I felt a huge weight off my shoulders, and I felt I could breathe a sigh of relief because they didn't know where I lived. So the fact that I had given my old landlords my address just to pass on any post, and that they gave it to members of the organisation, was completely wrong, and I have no defence of them for that. The reason that I didn't get the authorities involved is I did Google my options and I didn't want to start something that could potentially go nowhere and get, invested in it. And secondly, Jehovah's Witnesses are lawyered up to their eyeballs. They know what they're doing, and I just didn't see it going anywhere. I wrote a very, very strongly worded text saying that it is illegal, and if they ever come to my home or anywhere near my home again, I will call the authorities and I will take legal action. So I did let them know that I knew that it was completely wrong. I also made it clear in my text. This was another thing as well. Someone asked me if I've written a letter to the organisation saying that I want to disassociate myself. So basically to leave the organisation and be officially cut off from them, and following on from that to then be cut off from every single Jehovah's Witness who chooses to follow the rules, which are you can have no contact with someone who is no longer a Jehovah's Witness. There are two ways that can happen. You can be disfellowshipped, which means that they choose that you are unrepentant for something that you've done and they choose to put you out of the congregation. Or two, you can disassociate yourself, which means that you make the choice and you choose to be disassociated. They're the same outcome. They both mean that you are shunned by the congregation and you are no longer known as a Jehovah's Witness. So someone said, did you write a letter to them? Which I believe I didn't know really, must be the proper way of doing it. And I said, no, I just wrote them a text saying I no longer want to be associated, so please disassociate me and please announce it, because it will be announced that I'm no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. So there is that. I have disassociated myself, and in my mind I am no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I've asked them to announce that. So if they haven't, that's on them. I don't give a shit. Someone was asking a few questions about the different beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses and if there's much of a difference between them and Mormons. Jehovah's Witnesses are quite similar to Mormons in lots of their teachings. There's a few differences. I believe that the Mormons believe in the Trinity, so that God, Jesus and the Holy Spirit or Holy Ghost are one. That's not something the Jehovah's Witnesses believe in. They believe that all three are separate entities. But if you do have any questions or you're interested in finding out more about Jehovah's Witnesses, you can Google it. There's lots of places that you can find information. There's lots of places that you can find their direct website, which will tell you the teachings that they have. So if you're just interested in the teachings, then you can go on their website. I'm not going to advertise it because I'm not going to be blamed if someone decides to go down that particular rabbit hole. But yeah, you can find out any of their teachings. And when it comes to their surface level teachings and their Bible teachings, they're quite an open book. It's just the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that they're not so open about. Which brings me on to my next point. I'm going to be a bit more blunt in this video, I think. When I was talking about the illegal activity with children, I think it's quite obvious, but I was talking about paedophilia. That is rife in a lot of religions, and Jehovah's Witnesses are no exception to that. I personally was incredibly lucky. I have had no experience with that. I've had no experience with sexual abuse. I personally can't remember anybody ever telling me that they are a victim of sexual abuse by members of the congregation. If I was, and if I had their permission, I would have gone to the authorities. Jehovah's Witnesses say, and I think this is to cover themselves, they say that if there is anything to do with paedophilia or sexual abuse or harassment, then you should go to the police, because Jehovah's Witnesses have a 2-witness rule, which means that someone needs to witness the thing that someone is accusing someone of doing. So there needs to be the person who's accusing the person and then a witness to that, which is never going to happen with paedophiles and sexual abusers, because that's what they do. They get people alone. So there's no way. So the 2-witness rule is kind of already against the victim straight away. The victim is put back because of the 2-witness rule. So Jehovah's Witnesses do say you are perfectly within your rights to go to the authorities or take any legal action with the police. So if I had anybody who wanted me to go to the police on their behalf, I would have. Unfortunately, someone asked if I had gone to the authorities or if I would be willing to go to the authorities because of the paedophilia within the organisation. But it's very similar to other organisations that I have never seen anything, and I don't know anyone who has made those accusations. So it's just hearsay. I'm pretty confident it happens, but at this moment I have no proof, so I could never do anything with that information anyway. I also want to say there was such an overwhelming outpouring of support and encouragement, and I'm so grateful to everybody who commented, everyone who took the time to even just watch the video, even if you didn't comment, even if you didn't watch it all the way through. I'm so grateful that people took the time to just click on the video and watch whatever you felt comfortable watching. Still feel an awful lot of guilt for being part of an organisation like that and for the choices that I made within that organisation. This is a bit of a controversial comment. I feel that there were choices that I made within that, whether that was just to survive or whether that was to make my life slightly easier. I take responsibility for my choices once I got to adulthood. It's up to all of us to break the chain, and that is a lot harder if you've been brainwashed than if you haven't. I did make decisions to do more within the organisation, like pioneering, like I mentioned, doing more hours door to door and being involved with the construction work. Those were decisions that you don't have to do. A lot of people don't do those things within the organisation. They're not expected. I did those things to make my life easier and to make my life more fun, but regardless of that, they were still decisions that I made. So being as involved as I was within the congregation is a guilt I will always have, but I think that since I've made the video, I feel a lot less guilty and a lot more angry, but in a positive way. Like, I'm angry, but I'll harness it, you know? I think since I've done the video, I have started to sway more towards Jehovah's Witnesses being a cult. I don't know if yet I would fully just say they are a cult, but I definitely am seeing and doing more research into what cults are. They definitely are just a cult that hide in plain sight, which is very scary, but that's how they work, I suppose. And I admire anyone who leaves at whatever age they leave at. If you've been a Jehovah's Witness for 5 months or if you've been it for 50 years, I admire you for leaving at any time. But I also think that it's not up to us to make decisions for other people, and if that's where people feel safe and happy, even if it's just momentarily, I think that it's not for us to say that they should leave. I wish that everyone could have their eyes opened like I did, and I hope that everyone does. But if at this moment in time, this is what people need to be part of that organisation to survive, then it is not for me to tell people that they're right or wrong for that. I just want to say again, I'm so grateful for everyone, for your comments and your love towards that video. It was really hard and I felt really supported. So thank you so much for all of that, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and at least I didn't get emotional this time. And if you ever have questions, then feel free. Even if I don't do another video, then I will just respond to comments. If I'm not going to do a video, I'll just respond to your comment and answer your question. I'm not the font of all knowledge and I don't know everything. So I may not know an answer to your question, but if it's a personal one, or if I do know the answer, then I'll absolutely give you the answer that hopefully will help. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that in my own small way I can help someone who maybe is thinking about leaving and needs that final encouragement, because for me, if I hadn't have met Brandon, I'm pretty confident I'd still be in there. I needed something like that to push me to make a decision. So if I am that for you, that pushes you to make that decision, then you're welcome. No, no, I hope I help in some way, or at least educate people into the dangers of allowing yourself to follow something without fully being aware of everything that's involved. Never stop asking questions, kids, because curiosity did not kill the cat. It gave the cat more wisdom, which scared people. But yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of the week, and I'll see you soon with a normal video, or not. Maybe we'll just do this from now on. Who knows? Okay, bye.